For Salon, we produce only 37 vintage in 1 century, and this one is not the last. is the last before the last, because the last will be 99 for last century, and we produce only when the vintage is a great vintage in Champagne. And if you take for example, the 60s, it's only 4 vintage in the 60s. It's 61, 64, and 66 and 69. In the 70s is 71, 73, 76 and 79, 4 vintage. In the 80s is 82, 83, 85 and 88, 4 vintage in 10 years. In the 90s is very special because it's 90 and 95. There are no vintage between 90 and 95. And 96, 97, there are 3 vintage, and 99, there are 5 vintage in the 90s. And there are no other example with a 5 vintage, except in the 40s, where we have 5 vintage in the 40s. And after 99, there are no 2000. 2000 is not a vintage for Salon. We are the only house without vintage in 2000. But the quality was good, but not very good for the vintage, but it's a very trendy marketing vintage. And the vintage after the 99 will be the 2002 and 2004. 2008, this vintage of this year is a very, very interesting vintage. Certainly vintage for Salon, with a very high level of acidity, because we need acidity for Salon, and we keep the acidity because we don't make malolactic for Salon. And it's why the wine, after 10 years, more of 10 years, 11 years, the wine is still a teenager, is still very young, with all the acidity, all the freshness, the elegance, the sapidity and the minerality. Teeny bubbles, of course, and touch of fruit, of grapefruit and kiwi. The kiwi is very strange. In this wine, we have kiwi any time. And kiwi is a green fruit and fresh fruit. And the color is still, after 11 years, the color is still with a green color. It's a good sign for the aging. And the potential for this wine is 30-40 years without problem. We start with 30 years and we will taste in 30 years. It's I drank this week with some friend in Champagne, very old Champagne, very old. I drank a Paul Roger 21. Wow! This week, 3 bottles of 21, and the wines were incredible. And we drank a Salon 51. And 51 in Champagne is very special because we are only 2 houses with a 51. It's Clos des Gouasses from Philippona and Salon. And for everybody, it was the first time they taste the 51, and the wine is spectacular, just incredible, just still a baby, after 57 years.